The universe was completely devoid of SUVs before about 1996. Then Honda launched the CR-V, which turned out to be a bit like fumbling a loose pin in a grenade. SUV sales exploded worldwide. These days, everyone's doing it. SUVs have underpinned the growth in Australian new vehicle sales for the past decade. They've become the new, de facto Aussie family wagon. If you're shopping around, you could blow far too many Saturday afternoons just driving from dealership to dealership, checking them all out. And that's a worry. The biggest challenge for most buyers is actually getting to a short list. So we've already done that for you. Here are 9 of the best light-duty four-wheel drives we prepared earlier. Over the next 3 days, we're going to drive more than 5,000 kilometres of bitumen, dirt and easy off-roading. And we're going to argue the toss incessantly. And if we rattle the cage like that, what's going to fall out at the end is the best affordable light-duty four-wheel drive in Australia. There's plenty of good reasons to buy an SUV. They've got some off-road ability, but they're a bit more city-friendly than full-tilt four-wheel drive wagons. A beach run is usually not a problem. They're easy to get into and out of if you've got a bung hip or a bad back, and they're usually a much better hedge against depreciation than traditional family cars. Let's meet the judges. Glenn Haddon is part of the furniture at Overlander. He's also one of Australia's most accomplished off-road drivers. Glenn's taken his 200 series Land Cruiser places others fear to tread, and he deals with four-wheel drive owners every day in his aftermarket tuning and accessories business. Jed Bulmer is one of Australia's most respected road testers. He's a former editor of just about every motoring magazine that matters, even Overlander, and he's spent the past couple of decades driving everything from Lada Nivas to Lamborghinis. Lisa Hornvet used to be the PR boss of Land Rover Australia, so she's driven off-road on just about every continent. She's also a mum with 2 kids. And who do you reckon actually drives these SUVs on our roads? Clone Lisa 100,000 times and you're looking at the SUV driving public. Isaac Bober's been road testing all kinds of new vehicles for 13 years, so he knows what it's like to park a $1 million Rolls Royce out the front and then hope like hell it's still there when you wake up tomorrow morning. He's also a bona fide nuclear family specialist, having built one himself, with some assistance admittedly. So Isaac is exactly the kind of bloke SUV advertisers put in their crosshairs when they splash the big bucks. Together we've got 3 days to drive 9 of the best SUVs back to back over a variety of challenging roads before putting 8 to the sword and picking a winner. In a sense, there are 9 winners here already. They've been selected as the best of the SUV breed. You'd be happy in any of them, subject to your own personal preferences. The Peugeot 4008 looks much less like a hastily made over Mitsubishi this time around. You get 5-star safety, the choice of 5-speed manual or 6-speed CVT, 16-inch alloys, electric assisted power steering, and a bit over a tonne in towing capacity. The one you're looking at is $38.5 grand drive away. The other Frenchie in the pack is the Koleos, which you'd never guess by looking at it to be the Nissan X-Trail's twin under the skin. But there you go, that's exactly what it is. The Koleos delivers a 5-year warranty to match its 5-star safety rating, 1,350 kilograms of tow capacity, a 6-speed auto and a potent diesel with 320 newton metres, all for around 38 grand drive away. Sticking with the Euros, another 2 apparent twins, the Volkswagen Tiguan and the Skoda Yeti. The Tiguan's got the looks and a high-tech direct-injection petrol 4 with almost 300 newton metres, plus 16-inch alloys and a choice of 2 6-speed transmissions, a manual and a DSG. The Tiguan will tow 2 tonnes, allegedly, and also offers 5-star safety for an eminently reasonable 36 grand. The Yeti might be an ugly duckling, but if you can get past that, it's amazingly practical and underpinned by Volkswagen Group Tiguan Tech. This one's the diesel, but its towing capacity steps back to 1,600 kilograms. The Yeti is very economical, offers 5-star safety and a 5-year warranty. And the price is line ball with the Tiguan at about 36 grand drive away. The XV is the small SUV Subaru had to insert underneath the Forester, which had been swelling incrementally with every model revision since it jumped out of the blocks. The no-frills Impreza-based XV has a petrol 4 and 5-star safety, plus the choice of 6-speed manual or Lineartronics CVT transmissions and 17-inch wheels. But it sticks to a low price point under 35 grand. Or you could step up to the Subaru Forester Boxer turbo diesel with its healthy 350 Nm output. It's like an XV on steroids really. Heaps more real-world performance without the thirst, a small but significant size increase, and the same 5-star safety and symmetrical all-wheel drive system. All up, 36.5 grand, drive away. The Mazda CX-5 is one of the most exciting new SUVs to launch in some time. The ultra-efficient new Sky Active diesel is part of Mazda's global fuel consumption cutting commitment, and yet it pumps out more than 400 Newton metres. The CX-5 backs up with 5-star safety, 19-inch alloys and 1800 kilogram tow capacity, and it tips the scales a smidge over 39k, drive away. Adding weight to the Japanese camp is the Nissan X-Trail. Okay, it's an ageing vehicle, but it's got real off-road capability and a huge cargo bay. That's something to consider if you're maybe running a small business by day and a family after hours. It's the same basic mechanical spec as the Koleos, but blows the French twin out of the water on towing capacity, 2 tonnes, and offers 18-inch alloys. Unfortunately, the X-Trail is the only SUV here with a 4-star safety rating. All up, 38.5 grand, drive away. Last but certainly not least is the lone South Korean entrant, the Kia Sportage Platinum. Fully loaded, it's the most expensive SUV here at $39,720, drive away. But it's got the lot. A potent turbo diesel 5-star safety, 18-inch alloys, a 6-speed auto and 1600 kilograms of maximum tow capacity. And it doesn't look half bad either, thanks to Kia headhunting former Audi design boss Peter Schreier. One of the best things about a big Overlander 9-way head-to-head comparison is something you just can't do at the dealership. Drive direct competitors back-to-back repeatedly on identical roads, and then argue the toss over their relative merits with experts. So that's exactly what we did, clocking up 5,000 odd Ks in 3 days. Unfortunately, there was only one actual punch-up between the judges. We edited that out. And when the dust finally settled, all we needed next was a series of sudden death shootouts.
The days gone past, the family wagon was the Commodore or the Falcon. These, I believe, are the next step. These are the Commodores and the Falcons of the future, and taking them a lot further, a lot more fun, a lot more family oriented.
Glenn's absolutely right. You can have a bit of fun with competitions like this, but at the end of the day, there's a real responsibility that goes hand in hand with telling people which vehicles to buy and which ones to avoid. Thousands of families spend serious coin on a new SUV, so the decisions we make here need to be exactly on the money.
When you go to a dealership to test drive a new vehicle, it's not a real world situation. You've got a car dealer sat behind you in the rear seats, and you're under a lot of pressure. You're driving around the block maybe 3, 4, 5 times. You don't get to drive it on dirt. You don't get to drive it on your normal route to and from work. So it's really not a real world scenario, and we've tried to create a real world scenario as best we can over the last couple of days.
Here's the bit where we get to go from 9 good SUVs down to 1 great one, and we're going to do that North Korean style, sudden death elimination in 3 rounds. We're voting 5 off right now in order, worst to best, bottom 5. Let's go. 100 points for 9th place, then 80, 60, 40 and 20. And you can give the scores to me. So at the end of round 1, we've got unanimous Koleos in 9th, followed by X-Trail, Peugeot, and a dead heat for 6th, both Subarus.
Over the last couple of days, we've spent numerous hours poring over these cars, under the bonnets, climbing in and out of back seats, front seats, because the decision we make is going to cause someone to put their hand in their pocket, and we want to make sure that we've got the right car for that buyer. To be honest, I'd be happy to drive home any one of our 9 cars here today, because they're here because they're excellent vehicles. We didn't pick duds because we wanted some easy losers. Each one is a fantastic car.
Every competition goes hand in hand with a wooden spoon, and unfortunately for Renault, the Koleos earned it unanimously.
The French SUVs didn't fare that well in the judges' voting. In fact, they finished pretty well down the bottom of the table. I think the Peugeot's got more redeeming features than the Renault. People like the style of that vehicle. It's beautiful. It's very nicely finished inside. It feels rich, it feels opulent, but neither of them really struck a chord with people in a big way. The X-Trail's a really honest vehicle. I think of all the vehicles here, if you were actually going to be doing some off-roading, it's the one I'd be choosing. It's also fantastically space efficient. There's a lot of room inside that exterior. It's pretty ugly, unfortunately, and it's a bit dated now technologically.
Dynamic performance is really important for many people, but for me I'm looking more about how the car functions within my lifestyle and how it adds value to my day-to-day tasks. Looks are definitely important, and there's quite a range in this group of vehicles. The Europeans look fantastic. Inside they're luxurious, they're well appointed. The interiors are really quite a step above the others.
They are a step above, only not enough of a step to get the French over the line and into round 2 here. The big surprise for me in round 1 was the early departure of both Subarus in equal 6th place. The Japanese have copped a real pounding recently, hit by the terrible earthquake and tsunami, hot on the heels of the global credit crunch. Perhaps that's a factor in Subaru's current product presentation. That's the beauty of sudden death. Right away, we're down to 4, in no particular order: the Sportage, CX-5, the Yeti and the Tiguan, and we've got to get rid of another 2 right now. All right, hang on. Enough chat. We've had enough chat, we've had enough investigation. There's going to be a winner, and it's not going to be anyone's executive decision. One word on the page. Let's go. It's easy to vote vehicles off, reality TV style, early in the piece. But here at the pointy end of the competition, it's a much harder call. Well, I can tell straight away it's 4 versus 1. There's only one winner, and the Kia Sportage isn't it. The Overlander SUV of the year is the Mazda CX-5. So, technology and packaging beats style and equipment. Let's hear from the judges.
Look, if it came down to bells and whistles, the Sportage was definitely the winner. It's loaded full of features. But then I had to think about the practicalities. The CX-5's really got a lot of room inside, and that's important when you've got a family. It's got excellent stowage facilities as well in the back.
Very tough decision. The judges were split between these 2 cars. I think it really came down to, for me personally, I was looking at the extra real estate that the Mazda brings. I think space efficiency and size is a big deal for young families in this category versus the extra equipment that you get in the Sportage. The Sportage is a really well-equipped vehicle, very well priced. It's a great package. But for me, I like the space efficiency of the Mazda, and I also like the dynamics and the overall refinement.
It was really stressful to make that decision and whittle them down to the final one. The first and second place getters are absolutely fantastic cars, and each has its own merits. The CX-5 was a bit of a favourite of mine because it's got those 3 split seats at the back, which means if you've got kids, it's perfect. You can have a child seat on one side and the other side, and you can drop the middle seat down and load through stuff if you've got to go to the hardware store. But you can't argue against the appointment of the Kia Sportage. The leather interior, the looks of it, it's a great car. So it was a really hard decision to come up with a winner.
At stumps, it's the CX-5 leading the Sportage by a nose, with 2 Germans nipping on its heels. All the CX-5 needs to do to be the perfect SUV is to pile on more fruit than the Sportage and at least match the warranty.
Owners of SUV vehicles would be very surprised at how far these vehicles can actually go off-road. I'm a family man. I could drive the top 5 into my garage any day. The practicality of these vehicles for round town, if you wanted to hit a dirt road, fantastic. They're very well appointed. The control of these vehicles is out of this world, much better than I thought.